What's up, Gear Mortals? Trey Xavier here. On today's edition of Gear God's Quality Control, we're going to be taking a look at the 2-Notes Torpedo Captor. Now, as I'm sure you know, if you watch our channel a lot, that we're usually in a much more professional looking studio. You know, we've got a really cool looking backdrop and all that stuff. Today, I wanted to take you kind of inside the lair to where I do most of my recording and reamping here in my home studio, which is essentially my bedroom. And I think that this is the most appropriate setting for this review because the Captor is intended as sort of an everyman's load box. Although of course it is something you could use in any studio at any level, the price point is sort of aimed at the home recording enthusiast or somebody who just doesn't have a huge budget to record guitars but wants to record their favorite amp. So, as always, my favorite amp is here. It is the Rev Generator 120. You can see it behind me, perched rather precariously on top of my monitor speaker. That's how I have it. I don't have a lot of room in my home studio, so that's where it sits. Now, how the hell can I record this huge 120 watt amp in my bedroom? I don't have a good acoustic space where I can mic it up. I don't have a tracking room or anything like that. So I have to go direct, but I still want to use this super powerful tube amp. So we need something called a Loadbox. And what a Loadbox does is it takes the output that normally goes into your speaker cabinet, it reduces the amount of signal coming through to a usable amount, and it gives you the kind of signal that you can plug right into your interface. So what this allows you to do is to record the sound of your guitar amp, power amp and all, straight into your interface, where you can then apply some kind of cab sim or whatever. Today we're using the 2-Notes cab to load our digital cab IRs and then recording that sound directly into the interface. The complete signal chain is going to be this PRS SE guitar going straight into my Rev Generator 120 head, which is then going into the 2-Notes Captor, which then goes into the 2-Notes cab IR loader. The cool thing about the Captor is that it serves many purposes. It's sort of your all-in-one amp power reduction thing. It's good for not just recording at home like I'm doing here, but also for live performance, because not only is it a load box, it's also an attenuator. The Captor lowers the signal coming in by a fixed amount of 20 dB, which is pretty significant when we're talking about an amp this loud. So you run it out of the speaker cab out into the Captor, and then from that back into your speaker, and it automatically lowers it 20 dB. This means you can run your amp's power section a lot hotter to get that really awesome sound when you kind of dime it and crank up the power section, but then the actual output volume won't be earth-shatteringly loud. So like I said, I like to use the 2-Notes cab to load digital cab IRs, but the Captor actually has two different cab IR sounds already in it that you can turn on. One of them is for guitar and one is for bass. So if you want to go direct in for either recording or to front of house for live performances, you don't have to have a separate digital cab loader. You can just use the Captor and just flip the switch over to either guitar or bass depending on which one you're using, and then you have a signal with a cab sound on it already to go straight into your computer for recording or to the front of house mixing board. As you can see, the Captor is not very big. It definitely fits in a variety of places. It's got so many features in something that's about the size of a typical attenuator, maybe even smaller than a lot of them. They've packed a ton of crap into this thing. As you can see on the front here, it says it is a load box, an attenuator, a speaker sim, and a DI. They sent me the 16 ohm one. Luckily my Rev 120 that we're using today has 4, 8, and 16 ohm output. You definitely have to get the right ohmage, the right impedance. This will really screw you up if you don't have an output that matches this kind of impedance. You definitely don't want to use it. It's got a ground lift switch on the off chance that you are getting some hum. It's got a 180-degree phase switch to flip your polarity. It runs on just a 9-volt center negative plug like any pedal. And it can run from between 9 and 24 volts of DC power as long as it's center negative and at least 5 milliamps, which is not very much at all. And then we've got this speaker sim. You can turn it to guitar or bass or off. And then that, of course, goes out your XLR. On the back, we've got a tiny little fan for keeping it cool if it starts to heat up. And then we've got the speaker in, which is red because that's where the powered load goes. That's where you got to be careful. You don't want to blow anything. It says 100 watts RMS max, so I wouldn't crank my 120 watt amp into this, but I can still turn it up a pretty good bit. Then we've got the speaker out section here for the attenuated out of -20 dB on the right side, and then just the through on the left. So that'll give you the full volume out to your speaker cab. This is if you want it to be quieter for whatever reason. So now I'm going to show you a little bit of how I use it in my home rig and what it sounds like to use the direct out and the cab sim out sound. All right, so here's the sound of the Generator 120 on channel 4. I'm using this PRS SE. It's a 2017 edition. Everything is completely stock, straight out of the box. I'm going into the Torpedo Captor and then into the Torpedo Cab. In the cab, I'm using my favorite 2 notes cab, which is called Brit Green, but of course you can load any of your favorite IRs in there, third-party IRs. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with the cab and the included software. And then I'll show you the sound of the onboard sim on the Captor. Normally, if I'd been recording an amp at this volume, it would be deafening. This amp is extremely loud, and right now we have it at about halfway up, but still it would be just killing me, annoying the neighbors to no end. Dogs would be barking up and down the street, glass shattering, the whole lot. But now it's at a volume that's not even remotely annoying or anything. I mean, you can hear it probably through the microphone. I can hear the string noise over the sound coming out of the speakers, but yet it sounds exactly like the amp would cranked up as far as it is now. That's pretty amazing. Now this is the sound of the onboard cab sim right on the Captor. I just flip the switch. It's the direct signal from the amp right into the Captor, right into Pro Tools. Check it out. Hot damn. I have heard many, many onboard cab sims in my day, and 99% of them are total shit. This one sounds good. Not just like okay, but like pretty banging. Now, of course, you're stuck with just this one sound, but it's pretty damn versatile. I'm really impressed, actually. I'm very blown away. These things usually suck so bad, but 2 Notes is kind of like really into the cab IR game, so they were not going to put out something that didn't sound that good. Now, of course, this sort of power amp, preamp, the guitar, all this stuff goes into the sound, but if it's going through a shitty cab sound, it's going to sound like shit. So if you're looking for something that you can just go straight into the board with and not have anything else, this is sweet. This will not just sound pretty good. This is great. Let's try it with some clean sounds real quick. Very impressive, extremely impressive. Most of the solutions available for recording loud guitar amps at home or using them on stage are pretty expensive and or very bulky. The Torpedo Captor pretty much takes care of both of those problems, along with a host of other really cool features. Now, the only downside, or not so much downside, but an expectation that I had going into this, which was not met, is this thing where it says DI. Now, technically, this is a DI in the sense that it has a DI out. So, when the sound goes in here, the sound of your amp will come out the DI line out, okay? But this is not a DI box in the sense that you cannot plug your guitar into this and get a line level signal out to whatever to record. So I would not buy this thing if you're looking for something that will also double as a DI box, because you saw that it says DI here. This is an amp DI in the sense that it will turn your amp signal into a DI signal, okay? DI confusion aside, the attenuator and Loadbox capabilities of this, along with a really great sounding speaker sim out, make this an excellent value at $249. Everything about it did everything I expected it to, aside from this DI thing. And it runs on a 9-volt typical input, like on a pedal. So you can stick this on your pedal board or just plug it in with something you've probably already got. I thought it was really great, and I highly recommend that you check it out if you record guitars at home, or if you're looking to start, or if you have a loud ass amp that you want to tame for on stage but still get that crank tone. The 2 Notes Captor is a pretty slammin' deal, if you ask me. So thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe for more reviews and original content, and I'll see you real soon.